your guide, coach, and mentor in your journey to success and growth. Back once again with an important aspect of success. How do you expand your reach and expand your growth? So when I meet, when I meet business owners and corporate individuals, I have noticed that they all share a common problem of how do I expand my growth? How do I expand my reach? Because everyone around you, today, whichever market you are in, friends, whichever market you are in, whatever industry, whatever role you are playing, you will observe that all of us are today scrambling for the same opportunities. So if you are in a company and you aspire to become the director of the company, there is one position that comes open, and then there are plenty of people, maybe 20, 30 of them, who are aspiring to get that same position. If you are operating a daycare, and there are so many daycares around you, everyone is trying to attract the parents and the children with the same fee structure, curriculum, benefits, plus minus a few things. If you own, if you have a product or a service, you will observe that most of the people have an identical approach towards the market. Today when you are I hear people who are going for interviews and they tell me, they are just not able to crack the interview, they are not able to get the job because there is one position that has come open and there are thousands of applicants who are applying for that same position. So in such a market, where everything is so crowded, how do you stand out? How do you differentiate yourself from the others? How do you make sure that the people who you meet, you are on the top of their mind, you're on top of their list, if not at the top, at least in the first five. That's where you want to be. Now, the reason I say this, friends, is because in the market in which we are today, in the era of work in which we are today, we are surrounded and flooded with information over the net, magazines, TV, as well as networking. We meet so many people. In such a crowd, how will I remember you versus someone else? If I have to just remember you based on the price or on your fee structure or on your skill sets, that's really not a very big difference for me. So how do you expand your reach? How do you expand, your reach to the customers, to your management, and how do you grow? How do you expand your growth? Now, most of the people who have made it big in your industry, they really do not have any superpowers that they have reached where they are. Anyone can reach where they want to. The only power that these people are using is called the power of questions. Now, when I say power of questions, I really do not mean just at the surface of it, where you ask a question, you get an answer, and the conversation just finishes off there. You want to go deeper. When I say the power of questions, it is really deep. And it is the most neglected today. The power of questions is neglected by 85% of people in the business and in the corporate world today. Something that can really take them up and expand their growth. Millionaires and billionaires today who have made it, they have actually crafted for themselves this art, this art of asking questions. And it is that art, friends, it is that power of questions that can separate you from the others. Now, most of us, we have been fine-tuned to give answers, and when I say fine-tuned to give answers, I actually would go back to the school days, where we were given grades if we would answer correctly. Our grades didn't go up if we would ask the correct question. So, the school systems have never encouraged us to ask more questions. It's always been the right answers you give, the better it is. So anyways, moving away from that, to the current place, to our workforce, to our corporate world, to our business world, we have continued that pattern. Okay, so we are actually telling more rather than asking more. So if you're in a networking, let's say for example you are in a networking group, maybe you are socializing, or maybe you are there to find some potential customers, or maybe you are simply networking and joined some networking groups. Now, during that time, you will have someone who comes up to you and says, hey, so tell me something about yourself. What do you do? And you see our immediate reaction, our immediate response is, hey, I'm a lawyer and I help people with their property management. I've been doing this for 10 years now. It's good. And I've been here for a long time. Good clientele base. What do you do? And that person tells you exactly what he or she does. And the conversation continues for some time. And then it's a dead end. Okay, now when I say a dead end, either you are going off track to another conversation, because this conversation will not go anywhere. You know me, I know you, and that's it. So now it's gone to another track. You want to hold on to that person who you are speaking with, because what happens is, when you tell me about yourself, within few seconds you have switched off my mind, because I am going to be hearing this from almost everyone in that group. And not only that, maybe I have another networking after an hour or two in some other group, and I'm going to be having the same type of a conversation back there too. So with hundreds of people that I have met, why would I remember you? For what? Because that's the conversation we had. Tell me about yourself, tell me about yourself, and that's it. Maybe again, it's a plus minus somewhere, and that's it. To get onto the top of the people's list, your potential customers, your management team, if you want to get on top of their list, you have to start practicing what is called question storming. Okay, and question storming is just like brainstorming. In brainstorming, you ask solutions. You are talking about solutions. In question storming, you are going to go back and forth with questions. Now, I don't mean to say that you literally infest that person and crowd that person with your questions. No, it's actually all about the right questions and getting into a dialogue, not a monologue. When you tell about yourself, it's a monologue. You want to get into a dialogue, into a healthy dialogue. Now look what happens after this. The moment I ask you a question, what am I doing? I am breaking your thinking pattern of passiveness and converting it into an active state. Okay? That the moment you are active and you're responding to my question, and the flow keeps going. Okay? It's more like a question, conversation. It's not question, questions. So I have broken your passive mental thinking process, got you into an active state. I have been able to take from you so much of valuable information which I would have not got otherwise. And it does not stop here. Now, what do I do with this information? I get back to my office. Okay. Now, say for example, if you have shared with me that you are really frustrated with your inbox, the amount of emails that you get, or maybe you have spoken to me about your team, that it's so hard to build team nowadays. You're not able to build a conducive team, a positive team. Or maybe you're talking to me about references, that this is a customer you're looking for, you haven't been able to crack a deal with them. So that information which I have, I'm going to go back on my desk, and I am going to use that to help you. Okay, now this is where the connection starts. Usually, if I would have just been talking to you and telling you, I would go back to my office and I would just say, hey there, hi, it was a nice pleasure meeting you, and let's keep in touch, looking forward to meeting you again. I'm going to get hundreds of mails like this. But now I am going to send you some information, some valuable information that will help you solve your problem. So instead of just saying, hi there, we met yesterday, I'm going to say, I'm just sending you this link. I found this article very apt for the problem that you were facing. Now you have got my attention. Now, maybe after 3 weeks or 4 weeks, you find another article of interest and you send it to me. Now you have started to build what? You are building a relationship, okay? You are building a relationship to do what? To expand your growth, to expand your reach, to expand your network. Now you are into that building relationship. It does not happen by telling, it happens with question storming, with the power of questions. So move away from the routine, break someone's pattern of thinking, move away from what everyone else is doing, and start using this power, friends. I can assure you, you will find a difference within some weeks, maybe just a couple of weeks, and you will find a difference in your relationship with people, whether you're going for an interview or whether you are trying to get a potential client, or maybe you are trying to to grow in your company. Use this power. Let me share with you one more example. This happened in one of my workshops, where I had some of the people tell me that when they go for their company's network event, which is almost every quarter, they face a problem of what they're supposed to talk with their VP, because they have their vice presidents, their directors, and the upper management, and they don't know what they're supposed to talk. What are they supposed to tell them? How do they strike a conversation with them? Now, do you hear those words clearly? How do I strike a conversation with them? So my mind is so full of this. It's worried, it's tensed. What do I tell my vice president? What do I speak with them? And I want to become the director of the company, but how do I strike that conversation? That's exactly where we fall short. And this is not just with in the company, it's same with business owners. What do I tell my customer? How do I strike a conversation that's going to be so engaging? You don't have to worry about how to start an engaging conversation. You have to go with, how do I ask my question? What types of questions do I ask? How do I create that interest? Because if you are interested, you will ask the right questions. So, I told the person, I said, how about you ask your vice president next time in the same group? I said, maybe you can just strike a conversation, ask them, that they have been working with so many people around, with so many companies. What type of teams do they like? What type of teams do they feel are conducive? Get some information from them, use that information with your teams, and build that connection between yourself, your vice president, and your team. And that's how you will keep the relationship going. It's all about the power of questions. Remember, friends, it's all about question storming. Okay, and the right questions at the right place with the right thought gets you moving ahead. See, it's all about moving ahead. It's not about getting there in one time. It's all about step by step. Every question takes you one step closer to where you want to go with your customers, with your management, with your people around you, right? So practice this daily. It does not come, all of a sudden. Practice this with your friends, with your family, in your social life, and you will observe that very soon you're able to practice this at your workplace, in your business, with your customers, with your management. So I leave you once again with thinking about this power of questions. Send us your questions. Let this relationship not stop here. In the comment box down here, send us your questions. Where exactly you are stuck in your business, in your career life. What would you like us to talk about? What type of things you would like us to talk about that will help you get unstuck. Many of you are not able to come to our live workshops, and you're not able to get that benefit of a live workshop, because during the workshops we really go deep within all these aspects. But that's okay. Use these videos for your growth. Use it for your success, and that's what's going to make me feel good about it. So send your comments, send your likes, so that I know this is being appreciated and that this is something that is making you move ahead. Until we meet again, thank you so much.